Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BBCorp channel. I am the titular BB, and Extreme Rules this Sunday, which means that this is the perfect time for me to start this little series. You know, because it's extremely awesome, right? Oh. But anyways, so this is going to be sort of, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it's going to be sort of a prediction slash just recap of the month. So just to say, this is what happened this month, this is what's going on, this is what I think is going to happen. And yeah, so let's get right into it. I'm going to start off with the Raw side of the pay-per-view, as I feel like that's honestly the weaker show at the moment. I think Jack from Cultaholic is who described it best when he said, through a really weird and complex Legend of Zelda comparison, he said that it is that Raw has been taking a very non-linear approach to building to this pay-per-view, and I think that's a good way to describe it because nothing matters in each of the shows. Like, if you watch other than like when they do like flashbacks and stuff, if you watch 1 week of Raw, like the week after you were supposed to watch it, and you watch that week's episode first, nothing's gonna change. It's gonna be the exact same story. It's gonna be exactly what it was before, and there's no real purpose in watching them in order, or really watching anything other than the recaps, mostly for Raw. But anyways, we're gonna start off with the first match, well, the most recent match to be announced on the Raw side of the card. That being Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens in a steel cage match. And I decided to talk about this one first just because the build to this one has been really interesting to me. So it all basically started back at Money in the Bank when Kevin was basically trying to recruit everybody else on the Raw side of the roster for the Money in the Bank ladder match by just saying, hey, we need to get Braun. He's freaking 7 feet tall. Or is he 7 feet tall? I don't know. I think he's like 6'10", honestly. But he's a really tall and strong boy. He's gonna beat us up. He's gonna and everybody was like, nah, we don't need to team up on Braun Strowman. I'm glorious. I'm Finn Balor. I smile a lot. That didn't matter in the end anyways because Braun ended up winning, as he does. It's just what Braun Strowman does. And the next week on Raw, well, the next night, I should say, Kevin comes out and tries to befriend Braun. That doesn't go too well. Braun's like, I'm gonna beat you up, because Braun. And next week, Braun says, you know what, maybe you had a point. Maybe we can be friends. Maybe I can help you out. And they have a tag match against Finn Balor and Baron Corbin because Braun Strowman was like, hey, I need a tag partner, or I need a tag team to face with my tag partner, Kevin Owens. And he's like, you two, because apparently Braun Strowman's the secret general manager. But yeah, and then Finn Balor and Baron Corbin implode and beat the crap out of each other on the entrance ramp, and Kevin and Braun win by countout. A happy story. But Braun decides, yeah, no, that wasn't too fun, and he flips Kevin Owens' car because Braun. I don't know. So that leads to the next week. There's a match between Braun and Kevin, but Kevin runs away because it's Braun Strowman. He's not going to beat Braun Strowman. And somewhere along the line, Kevin ends up in a porta potty and gets thrown off the stage. And then the next week, Kurt Angle, arguably an awful general manager, like a great character, bad at his job, and then makes the match. He's like, hey, all right, Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, steel cage, and just keep trying to run away, you coward. But yeah, I found this really interesting. My prediction is that Kevin Owens is gonna win through sneaky tactics, climbing out of the cage, or like maybe handcuffing Braun to the cage. I could see him doing something like that. But yeah, Kevin Owens is my prediction to win at Extreme Rules. Next up is the B Team versus the Deleters of Worlds. This started actually a while ago when the B Team first rebranded themselves as the B Team. It started their undefeated run. Well, it's not really undefeated. They are undefeated, but it's not really like too amazing. They started racking up wins. They had that awful barbecue segment where they were like, hey, give us our tag team match. And then there was a big battle royal. B team wins, and they start their feud with the Little Leaders of Worlds, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. And it's a really bare bones rivalry, just singles matches building up to the tag team title match, really highlighted by the Titantron promos from the B team in the build-up. That being them basically making fun of what Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt do, just magnificently. They're genuinely funny. I would want them to win the titles, but I think history shows us that the company, they're not going to do anything with these guys other than brief little glimpses of success, kind of. Bo Dallas's impression of his real-life brother is amazing, really good. And Curtis Axel's impression of Matt Hardy is awful, but great for different reasons. So yeah, I think the Leaders of Worlds are going to retain their tag team titles. There's no reason for them to really lose them. I think they're not going to lose them until SummerSlam, and I predict that they will face the Authors of Pain. Not an important part to this, but yeah, no, I don't think the Leaders of Worlds are losing those titles until SummerSlam. Next up is Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. I'm not going to say too much about this. It's a filler feud for Alexa until Ronda comes back. Alexa's going to win. Hopefully it's a better match than WrestleMania. It wasn't a bad match Mania. But I definitely feel that this could be a much better match, especially with the weapons. Nia could do some amazing power spots in this, and Alexa could weasel her way out, get a victory. I just really hope that Mickie James and Natalya don't get involved, because I don't see why they were involved in this feud. They're not really necessary. But yeah, I think Alexa's gonna win through a sneaky little, like, cheap way. Yeah, that's all there is to say about that. Next up is Finn Balor versus Constable Corbin. Constable Corbin having an absolute renaissance at the moment. We kind of lost faith in him a little bit back because he wasn't doing anything interesting. But then one fateful night on Raw, he shows up and says, hey, Kurt, you're awful at your job, which he's not wrong. And he's like, so Stephanie McMahon has named me the Constable of Monday Night Raw. Baron Corbin is actually entertaining now. Just being this snarky authority figure who actually gets in the ring and like lays down the law. Not the good law, but still. Like I said before, he gets put in that temporary tag team with Finn Balor by Braun Strowman, the real general manager apparently. And they lose by countout, and since then they've been feuding through tag team matches, because that's the only way to build to a feud now. Put them in tag team matches. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. My prediction is, this one's actually hard to predict. I could see why they would have Constable Corbin win it, but I think, or I hope, I should say, that Finn Balor gets the victory, gets some momentum, maybe future Intercontinental Champion. Next, the penultimate Raw match of the show. Hopefully not the main event of the pay-per-view, because it wouldn't make any sense. You have a WWE and an amazing Intercontinental Championship match, and if Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley main events Extreme Rules, then faith in all booking sense is lost. So Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley, it originally started out as that big multi-man #1 contenders match that was supposed to have Elias, Roman, Bobby, assumedly Seth Rollins is somebody I would assume was going to be in there. But yeah, not happening anymore because Paul Heyman scrapped it. I don't know what happened. Brock Lesnar was like, hey, I don't want to work at my job where I'm fucking champion. But, you know, everybody else has already ragged on that enough. I don't need to also be thrown into that mix of just complaining about Brock Lesnar not wanting to do his job. But yeah, so that turns into Roman Reigns and Bobby having a weird little mini feud with the Revival. Good thing, so the Revival in this are, they are genuinely one of my favorite tag teams of the past like 5 years. But they're treated as literal jobbers in this. So friggin', there's one week Bobby and Roman have a good little tag match against the Revival. It's an entertaining match, but Roman and Bobby win at the end. Bobby, I think, hits a spear, pins one of the members of the Revival, and yeah, I would have been fine if it was just that. The next week, they have another match. The Revival wins after some miscommunication from Bobby and Roman. And then the next week, Roman Reigns comes out and says, I never thought I'd say these words, but last week I lost to the Revival. No, why do you think you'd never say those words? Because you lost to a genuinely good tag team with a person who you've never even liked, let alone tagged with? No, that doesn't make any sense at all that you would lose. No, because you're Roman Reigns, you don't lose, especially not to actual good wrestlers. Roman's not a bad wrestler, his character is the most unlikable dickhead. But he's the good guy. It doesn't work, is what I'm saying. It doesn't work. And he's complaining constantly. Like, if you're gonna book him to be a badass, book him to be a badass who takes what he wants. Like, people will still boo him, or people still won't like him, but at least he won't look like a whiny little asshole. He'll look like an asshole who takes what he wants. Because whiny is not how you make a good guy. Like, if you want to be a good guy, make him a badass. You've shown that you can do this. But you say, yeah, no, let's just make him bitch about stuff. That can go for hours and hours, just me ranting about why he's being an unlikable dick. But no, let's just move on to the next one. Roman and Bobby. Well, there's one more match between them and the Revival. Bobby leaves Roman, and the Revival, who have been proven to be a very intelligent and well-working tag team who understand tag team philosophy and rules very well, get themselves disqualified in a 2-on-1 handicap match, essentially, by not getting out of the ring when they could have easily gotten the victory. It doesn't make sense. But next week, Roman Reigns and Bobby finally have their face down. Roman meets Bobby outside of the out in gorilla position and goes, "Call me out, bro. Hey, yo, what? If you call me out, I'm gonna come out there. I'm gonna beat you up. Wait, less eyebrows. I'm gonna beat you up." Roman comes out and he's like, "I've never had somebody tell me to call them out before. Bobby Lashley, I'm calling you out." They come down, have a little stare down, and Kurt Angle comes out. He's like, "Don't you two punch each other. If you punch each other, ooh, you're gonna get some troubles." And yeah, they punch each other anyways. Kurt calls down the entire locker room to pull apart two average size, not average size, but like for a wrestler, like they're not Braun and Brock or anything. They're pretty good sized guys, but my issue is that they've overdone this. Like, freaking Bobby and Roman are doing their best Brock and Undertaker cosplay by wearing the entire roster and making everybody else look weak. The best part of this segment was Finn just clocking Constable Corbin in the mouth on his way to go and stop Roman, which was hilarious. But other than that, nothing really fascinating. But yeah, my prediction's Roman because it's Roman Reigns. He's the big dog. He's the good dog, good boy. But yeah, no, the good dog Roman Reigns is gonna win because he's Roman Reigns, and nobody can beat Roman Reigns. He's a god. Ooh. Anyways, the match that should, by all logic, be put on somewhere near the main event. And the final match I have here for Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the Intercontinental Championship. It's gonna steal the show. Dolph's gonna sue me now. But yeah, no, like, these two of the best wrestlers on the roster. A lot of people lost faith in Dolph because he sat in limbo for a long time. But no, the night after Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, idiotically, after a really hellacious match against Elias where he had to cheat to win, essentially, he grabbed the tights, has an open challenge. which everybody's like, no, that's a bad idea, dude. And Dolph Ziggler comes down with Drew McIntyre. They've been working together for a little bit now. And Dolph wins by roll-up, and Seth the next few weeks tries to blame it on Drew. It's not really Drew's fault though. Drew got involved once, and like Seth countered the roll-up that Drew had caused, but then Dolph countered that roll-up. So in a way, like, it wasn't really Drew's fault. Dolph would have reversed that roll-up anyways, and through that roll-up, Dolph gets the Intercontinental Championship. That much closer to being Chris Jericho's Intercontinental Championship record. And they've had a really good feud so far. Just week after week of entertaining matches, whether it's against Dolph or Drew, of really entertaining promos and cheap sex. Seth essentially accused Drew McIntyre of following around Dolph because Dolph is blackmailing him with pictures of Drew McIntyre having sexual relations with a sheep, because apparently that's what they do in Scotland. Not sure that's true, but yeah, my prediction is actually Dolph Ziggler, because I think Seth's gonna make that ascension up a bit higher in the card, and Dolph can hold on to this title, and I don't think he's gonna lose it until Drew McIntyre turns on him, and Drew's gonna rip that title right away from him, gonna absolutely destroy Dolph. And yeah, let's move on to the SmackDown side of things. The most recent match confirmed for SmackDown is the 6-man tag team tables match between Sanity and The New Day. Not a lot of build towards this match. It was really all built around New Day. They had their big Independence Day pancake eating contest, and Sanity interrupted, beat the crap out of them. It was entertaining after Sanity's actual debut against the Usos, which that was dropped. I'm not sure why. But yeah, so Sanity versus The New Day in a tables match should be a really entertaining match. Too bad it's on the pre-show. But yeah, that's really all there is to say about that. It's just a 2-week build. After somebody got beat up during a pancake eating contest, they had that big 10-man tag match on SmackDown and lost. So what's more there to say? I think Sanity should and will win, because they're not gonna bring up Sanity just to have them lose to The New Day in their first pay-per-view outing. Next up is Carmella versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is branching off from their Money in the Bank encounter, where James Ellsworth returned, costing Asuka the match through a really weird situation where she was able to kick out of a roll-up, but was still distracted by Ellsworth, got kicked in the face, then got pinned. Didn't really make sense at the time, still doesn't make sense, honestly. But Asuka's kind of dealt with that problem, as she spent the last 3 weeks beating up Ellsworth, as you should, and now it is the stipulation that he is now going to be suspended above the ring in a shark cage. I guess that's a good way to get rid of him. Again, not much to say about this match, the build-up to this match. It's just been pretty basic. Asuka wants the title. Carmella has the title. Asuka beat up Carmella's little boy toy thing in a lumberjack match. So, I mean, basic stuff, really. I actually think Asuka is finally going to capture the Women's Championship this time. I feel like it's too obvious. They're going to do something to keep it on Carmella, but I think at the very least, Asuka should win the championship. She really suffered a lot of damage from losing to Carmella, and she didn't really gain her momentum back at all, other than beating up Ellsworth, which doesn't really get anybody momentum, it just gets them cheered. But yeah, I think Asuka's gonna win the Women's Championship on SmackDown, finally. Next up is the Bludgeon Brothers versus Team Hell No, the most surprising match on this card. I don't think if you told me a month ago that we'd be seeing Team Hell No reforming, I would have believed you. But yeah, this is all stemming from that big gauntlet match earlier on in the month, where the Bludgeon Brothers cost Daniel Bryan, getting Miz the pin, and yeah, Kane returned, I think, the week later to help Bryan in a handicap match against the Bludgeons, and Team Hell No reformed, I should say, and Paige was like, you guys get a tag match, or a tag title match, which is good. They were also involved in that big 10-man SmackDown main event. They were on the winning side of it, unlike Sanity. And yeah, they aren't winning the titles. Sorry, guys. They're not taking the titles off the Bludgeons anytime soon that I can see. I really imagine that Team Hell No is not winning this match, unfortunately. I think we'd all love to see that big, happy Cinderella story of them coming back, getting those titles, and just being happy. But I think The Miz is right. I think Kane's gonna turn on Daniel Bryan first chance he gets, because that's just what Kane does. Oh, and also Kane is a big fan of NSYNC, is what we've learned. Next up is Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. I honestly forgot that Jeff Hardy was the United States Champion for a little bit, just because he wasn't on TV at all, because he got injured and they just kept his title on him, which is better than some people get, which is fair. I mean, it's fair because Hardy, he doesn't seem to have been too massively injured. He's back just a month after I think he got the injury, and yeah, this whole rivalry is coming from right before Money in the Bank, where Jeff was used as a warm-up match against Nakamura, and Nakamura, I don't remember if he beat Jeff or if he got disqualified, because I remember he low blowed him, kneed him in the back of the head, did the 1, 2, 10, and yeah, and then Jeff Hardy came back a couple weeks later wearing the paint again, a little bit loopy, saying the reverberations from getting kicked in the back of the head awoke him, and now he can see you, and he's got his contacts in and stuff. It's just a good old classic weird Jeff Hardy. And yeah, also this match was supposed to be a couple weeks ago, but Shinsuke Nakamura was bit by a dog. This is just wonderful. But yeah, so instead the match is happening at Extreme Rules, and I think Nakamura is going to be winning the United States Championship because he got bit by a dog, and they're still having the match. Like, they wouldn't. I don't think they'd be having this rematch if Nakamura wasn't supposed to win the first time, because it was just a random open challenge. Why would they have the match pushed to a pay-per-view instead if it wasn't? I think originally Nakamura was supposed to win in that open challenge, and then it was supposed to be Hardy versus Nakamura in Hardy's title rematch. And also, I just don't think Jeff has any use for the title, whereas Nakamura needs a big victory to bring him back up after the feud with AJ. He needs a big win after all those big losses. So I think Nakamura will be the new United States Champion leaving Extreme Rules. And the final match of Extreme Rules, at least it better be the main event. I swear to God, Lashley, Roman, if you're the main event, this doesn't make sense, because this is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Or is it just the WWE Championship? I lose track sometimes. But it is AJ Styles versus Rusev Day. I'm not English, I'm sorry. But it's AJ Styles versus Rusev. We've all been waiting for this for forever. Rusev finally getting this big WWE Championship opportunity, and he's absolutely not going to win, but we can all just hope that this has to be a good match, because if this is a good match, this could finally prove to the higher-ups that he is worthy of being a main eventer, and he could finally just get that big push that we've all been waiting for him to get after his big undefeated streak ended. He won that big gauntlet match, defeated The Miz at the end, which you'd think would make him a big face. He kicked The Miz's head off, but no, he's been playing the big, buff, bad guy the entire build-up, and I'm not too against it. He's so cheered as a good guy, but I understand why they keep him a bad guy, just because he's more natural towards that, just being this big, cocky jerk, which is fair. And, you know, keep them doing what they're good at. And yeah, I have no chance that he's going to win. As much as I'd love it, he's not going to. But it could be an absolute amazing match. Rusev could really pull something amazing out, especially against AJ Styles. But yeah, that's Extreme Rules. That's my predictions. That's what I think is going to happen. That's the recap. and I'll see y'all on Sunday.